looks like Tyrone Power in Zorro, not like Mr. Bates, with a safety pin through his braces holding up his trousers, and hairs on his stomach, but I can see because 2 of the buttons have burst off his shirt. The garage man says he's going to call a copper. Mr. Bates makes a hissing noise through his teeth, then slaps the money in the man's hand, gets back into the car and slams the door so hard that the window handle falls off. Fewer and fewer houses slip by until there are hardly any at all. The fields stretch away on both sides of the road, flat and a dull grey-green. I try playing I Spy with Mimi, thinking it will help her learn her letters, but give up after a while because there's only G for grass and R for rain, and she's not bothered anyway. I noticed the big hand on Mr. Bates's watch has gone right round twice since we started out. A small run-down old pub called the Thin Man comes up on the left, set back a bit off the road with a bench outside. Mr. Bates parks in front, then goes inside with his scrappy bit of paper. He takes half an hour to ask for directions while Mimi and I stay in the back of the car. The engine clicks as it cools. We breathe in the stale smell of Mr. Bates's armpits. The windows steam up. We're hungry. Dad gave us the same sandwiches he'd made on Saturday when we were supposed to come, but even then the cheese was the cracked bit off the end, and today the bread was all curled up, hard enough to do your teeth in. We ate them ages ago going through East Ham. I've still got a lump in my throat from a crust that didn't go down. Through the misty glass, I see Mr. Bates coming out again, buckling up his belt. He burps so loudly we can hear it 10 feet away with the windows up. He hasn't brought us any peanuts or a cream soda with 2 straws like Dad would have done. When he opens the door, I smell wet grass and soil. The rain has stopped. Mr. Bates squeezes his big stomach in behind the wheel and wipes his mouth with the back of his hand. "Ain't we there yet?" I ask. "Mind your own bloody business," he says, and beery spit flies out of his mouth and lands on the windscreen. He reaches into his pocket for his tin of Golden Virginia and rolls himself a cigarette, thin, bent and wrinkly, with bits of tobacco sticking out the end. While he's driving, he can make them with one hand, balancing the tin on his knee. Most of them last only a couple of puffs. When he starts sucking like mad, you know they've gone out. He takes his time with this one, slowly blowing out the smoke until it fills up the car and makes our eyes water. "Bloody cavemen out here," he says, pushing open the quarter light to clear the windows. We turn down a road almost opposite the pub. The name is painted on a piece of wood nailed to a stick, Old Glebe Lane. The road is narrow and rough, with scrappy hedges on either side. A high wall and some huge wrought-iron gates loom up on the right. I catch a glimpse of a wide, freshly mown lawn and long curving flower beds. Mr. Bates lowers his head to look as we drive by. "And that ain't Guerdon Hall," he says, "just in case you was wondering." After a short while, the car slows and I peer over Mr. Bates's shoulder to see out. We're at the top of a steep hill. Below us, a small church steeple rises up out of a cluster of trees standing at the edge of a sweeping wasteland of marshes. Thick fingers of sunlight pierce the clouds and stretch down to the earth in long pale rods that dip in and out of the scattered pools and snake around the reed beds along the silvery ribbons of water, until in the far distance the glittering liquid threads merge into a faintly shimmering line that hovers between the land and the sky. "What's right over there, then?" I ask. "What's bloody what?" "Right over there." I point past his ear to the horizon. "What do you ruddy well think it is?" he says. "It's the ruddy river, innit? And over there's the flippin' sea." "So where does the river stop being the river and the sea start being the sea?" "How the flamin' hell should I know?" he says. "Shut up and stop asking bloody stupid questions. I'm giving you a lift in me blimmin' car. It don't mean I've bloody well got to have a conversation." We bump slowly all the way down the hill, with Mr. Bates swerving to avoid the big holes, muttering flippin' this and bloody that. At the bottom the lane carries on towards the church and the trees, and another, far muddier track goes off to the right. Mr. Bates stops the car and switches off the engine. He looks at his grubby piece of paper again. "The house is up the end," he says, pointing down the muddy track with his yellow finger. "But if you think I'm blinking while driving down there..."